Okay, hello everybody and welcome to Refresh. I am so happy as always to be together today or whenever you choose to find us in your crazy schedules because this is a time that we value. It's a time to connect, to be inspired, to learn something and ultimately feel a bit better for this time we spend together. And that is what Generation W is all about. So, what is new and happening in the world? I say that every Wednesday when Sherry and I begin our rehearsal and preparations. What's new today? It's hard to believe that Thanksgiving is around the corner, right? Which means that the parade, and let me specify the Macy's Thanksgiving Day Parade, one of my most special events and memories, sitting on my dad's shoulders, the balloons flying overhead, he making sure we were warm, the hot chocolate with the whipped cream. I have to tell you, I love the parade to this day. I put it on, I dance around my house because I won't be in New York for that parade. And it always ends with Santa, which means that the new year is upon us. And how did that happen? COVID has totally altered my perception of time. How about you, right? Did 2021 really happen? If babies didn't have birth dates that were born during this year, I really question. I don't know about you, Kate, but clearly, yes, 2021 did happen. But the news of the day, at least the piece that's jumped out at me, is shots, shots, shots. Kids are finally able to get shots, and we are now awaiting boosters to be approved for all. And, you know, we are fortunate here, my husband and I, that our good friend is one of the foremost researchers in the country on the efficacy of the COVID vaccine, maybe even the world. He's been on the front line of getting all of the data, and in our discussions about how to stay the safest, he has steadfastly maintained that the vaccine is the surest way for us to take care of not only our own health and that of others. Now, there are those who have mitigating issues, and by all means, they must be tended to. But the misinformation, which I am also privy to on a very, very regular basis, thanks to a family member of mine who reports on it, and most recently, Aaron Rodgers, in a very celebrated case, right, makes me wonder. But that would be a discussion for another time. Today, with respect to shots, today we have a woman who is a shot in the arm for women everywhere. Women with aspirations, women who see more for themselves, women who are seeking the path of entrepreneurship, and perhaps the ability to take the switchback rather than that straight road ahead. Kate Eisler, I'm happy to call a friend, is 20 years in international executive leadership, gained working for Fortune 100 companies to startups, and now has turned her passion for supporting gender parity into a thriving business. She's the co-founder and CEO of TheWMarketplace, and we're going to learn all about that today and Kate's story. It's an e-commerce platform built to support women-owned businesses, service providers, and gender-balanced companies. I would say, interestingly enough, Generation W is a gender imbalanced company. We can talk about that too, okay? Kate, so you are a woman who has not taken the straight path in any sense of the imagination. What makes it even more remarkable is you've done it in a time when switchbacks were not common at all. So I think it's really important that we understand a little bit more about Kate. Tell us a little about your differentiated path as you built your career. And welcome, by the way.
Yeah, thank you. I'm so happy to be here. And yes, all of the vaccine, yes. I'm such a supporter because I am fortunate enough to have had both my vaccines and I'm also waiting for the booster and love that, you know, that allows us to get back into the world versus, you know, when you said COVID, the year happened, I kind of think of this as COVID-1, right? The year, forget 2021, it's COVID-1 or COVID 1.5. It's kind of crazy. So, but I am so thrilled to be here with your group. And I all of that made me smile because of the time we have spent together and the discussions we have. So a little bit about me. I did not take the straight path anywhere. And I have had a career and a life that no one would have anticipated, most of all me. And so I was never in the right place at the right time. I wasn't introduced to the right person at the right time. However, you know, one of the things that I talk about a lot is I was always open for opportunity. I never said no. I always was like, well, if I saw something that was interesting or a person doing something that I was interested in, I couldn't help myself but think, well, why can't I do that? And so I've done that professionally. I've done that personally. Just as a fun note, and Donna has met me. I'm like 5'2", not very long legs. Have
Oh,
run.
no, wait a second. I don't know that you're 5'2". I just know that when I met you, I looked up to you. Okay.
Yes, I've run 3 marathons, and when I say that, people kind of go, "What?" Because I heard about that and thought, "Oh, why not?"
Wait. Was that 3 marathons in one race because your legs were so short? Is that what you're trying to tell us?
Pretty much, pretty much.
No.
No, but I've always sort of looked at things like, why not? And so my career has been a series of, I think I'll try that. And I have moved through that. I have been fortunate enough to have seen opportunities, raise my hand for them, and been given the opportunity to follow them. So
Yeah, but let's talk about specifically when you saw an opportunity. Most people do not ask their husband to become the supporting spouse while you take your family off on an work adventure in the Middle East. So and that really is the foundation where you
yes,
kind of blossomed.
it is absolutely. So it was early 90s, and I was working for Microsoft, which at the time, I was very unlikely. I was not a technologist at all. I was not a college graduate. I went to work for them in their internal communications and advertising group. And I saw an email that came, an announcement about a man that I knew and didn't really have a lot of respect for. And the announcement was he was promoted and moving to Paris. And I thought, oh, if he can do that, I can do that. So I raised my hand and said, I want to do something internationally, and went about meeting everyone I could around the company that was doing that or lived overseas or something. And it was only a few months before they came to me and said, we have an opportunity for a marketing position internationally. Do you want to talk about it? And I'm like, sure, where? And they said, the Middle East. I said, no. I was thinking like London, Paris. Okay, maybe Sydney. I want something fun. Well, needless to say, I talked my husband into quitting his job and taking our baby to Dubai in 1993.
Wow. And what was Dubai like in 1993?
It was a desert. It literally was, sand. It was not Vegas today. There were no hotels on the beach. So let that sink in for just a minute. There were 0 hotels on the beach. And I had a Honda Accord company car that I used to drive across the sand because the sand is very heavy and wet. And so there were not a lot of roads. And so you would find a place in the desert that you were supposed to go, like that building, and get in your car and just sort of drive there. And so it was a very different, and I tell you that my husband was the only trailing spouse for, I'm going to say, tens of thousands of miles. And it was a very interesting time to sort of groundbreak for both of us. For me to be in a position with a major multinational company making decisions in a culture that was not used to publicly, and I say that very specifically, women making decisions publicly, and my husband not. That was a very odd situation, and it worked out for us. I mean, we had a lot of fun with it because we sort of charted our own course on how we would deal with that and where we would go. And we did that for 4 years. And then we moved to London, and I took on a role in another really hospitable place for women. So I had Africa, the Middle East, and India as a territory for Microsoft. And so my husband and I, in fact, adopted a child on the way. We tease, he's our duty-free child. And so because we did the process as we moved to London. And so we spent time there we were then a family of 4. Came back to the US for a short period of time. I worked in a couple startups, left Microsoft, and then ended up going back to Microsoft and back to Eastern Europe and Central Asia. So again, super hospitable. Went, did that for quite some time, back to London, back to the US. By this time, I have 3 sons, and left Microsoft about 8 years ago to run a startup. Did that, went back, finished my college education. I am a 2018 college graduate.
That's amazing. So this whole time you had not even, so you were an uncollege educated female in Dubai or the Middle East.
Mm-hmm.
Although they probably didn't say that you don't walk in. It's not like your vaccine card today. They don't say
Right.
give me your diploma. But I
Right.
am intrigued by that Microsoft, which is the company you work for.
Yep.
It is not the Microsoft of today. It was a much different Microsoft.
Mm-hmm.
That they even would tap a woman. Did they see those markets as extremely valuable? Did they factor in the gender equation? Because I've done work in Japan, and I always had to make sure I had one of my young male colleagues. I mean, I ran the deals, all that kind of stuff. But when we walked in the room, they asked him the questions.
So it was really interesting. I think that I was young enough and naive enough to just put my head down and go. And I was the 30th person that Microsoft ever moved outside the US. And so there was not a lot of experience. We think of them as a very organized multinational corporation now.
You do.
At the time, they were not. They just didn't, it was not thought through. And I think that there was a tremendous potential in the Middle East with Arabic and Farsi speaking countries. And they needed someone there. And, it wasn't the Microsoft of today. The interest about, how the predictor of how well you were going to succeed was your energy, your drive, your, passion behind the mission kind of thing. And it wasn't your credentials from a school, which is a very different thing. And I find that the culture of the company was very different, and there was much more camaraderie. We were all kind of pulling together because we were changing the world, really introducing technology in places that really didn't have it. And the good news about being a female in the Middle East, or in fact in Africa and lots of places where I was that it was very unexpected. And so, I would sort of march in, and I was given all of the responsibility for all the bad news. I was one to deliver, we're going to reduce your margins, we're introducing competition, we're changing terms, we're doing something, because it was very unexpected. And so I learned that quickly and used it to my advantage for sure.
That's so interesting. I will tell you that we've been joined by another woman who has and continues to do the unexpected. It's Brigitte. Bridget, she's on our Zoom right now. Bridget lives in Ghana. I assume, Bridget, you're there. You can chat with us and let you know. She was a mentee of mine, probably 10 or 15 years ago. We've stayed in touch. She ran for an elected office in her home country in Ghana, which is amazing, talking about women taking on new roles, whatever. And she continues to push the boundaries. So it's nice to see you, and good to see you, Debbie Banks, and Emmy Moore Minister is doing the same thing on the West Coast with women and golf, and she's a great PR person. And Maggie, great to see all of you. I know there's a bunch of people on Facebook, but you'll let us know who you are when you choose to let us know who you are, because I am here, luckily, talking with Kate Eisner. So Kate, now that kind of catches us up. Anybody has any questions, please chime in. The TheWMarketplace, right?
Well, I want to say one more thing, just because, doing that career was an interesting challenge and a fun one. And I want to just say, I think everybody has those opportunities, and I would say, take them. I just want to, as we kind of transition into that, because that has been a theme of my life. And the TheWMarketplace is really born out of that. Here's an opportunity. Why not do it? Why not you?
Well, I love that. I love that because, my whole TED Talk was about why not.
Right.
That said, we're in such an interesting time in the world of work and opportunity, right? We have the Great Resignation, as it's being called. Yep. It has not abated per se. It's continuing in evaluation of life. And in that, people are probably Xing out more than they're looking to adopt, right? Like, this is not for me. The question is, what is for me?
Right. Yep. And I think, that was one of the drivers behind the formation of the TheWMarketplace. But as we have evolved, when people talk about going back to normal, I have to just say, normal was not great for women. It was just not. And so when I think about the Great Resignation, I tend to be a little bit Pollyanna and think, great, that is, this force and these numbers with women being out of the workforce, this is the most women have left the workforce, or the lowest, I don't know the right way to say that, the lowest number of women in the workforce since 1988.
Right.
Which is completely, millions of women. But I think this is absolutely the time to redefine what is being in the workforce for us as women. How do we drive that forward? Because we are 50% of the population. We're almost 51%. So let's change the game. Let's use that collective strength to change the game. And I believe that, and you'll hear me say this lots, women supporting women, doing business with women intentionally will change the world. And so if we support one another to look at what is next and how do I make my next be right for me, and how do I craft an income that it's within my parameters and provides me a lifestyle that I want. And right. I want that to happen more than anything.
Right. And so the pushback, right? I think the number, Glory helped me. I just wanted to update on the numbers. I think we're up to a whopping, by the way, this is huge growth in venture capital for women's businesses. I think it could be almost 4%. Now it went up, it went down. I mean, it's a startlingly low number. And a lot of it is because there's many, many reasons, but this idea of lifestyle businesses versus, right? Every guy walks in and says, my business is $1 billion. I've sat there and I'm thinking, wow, what is wrong with me? Like, that business is not worth $1 billion, but they all need to hear it. We want to build sustainable lifestyle businesses that provide benefits. And I'm not saying that $1 billion unicorns don't, but the ability to get support and capital for women's businesses is really challenging.
It's unbelievably challenging. So I am right in the heat of it right now. So I would say that businesses, women start 1,821 businesses a day in this country, a day. And that has accelerated in this crazy COVID time, because again, women are redefining what it is to work. So women own 40% of small businesses, basically all businesses, but the majority of those are small. My ambition is to create a business in the TheWMarketplace, which we'll talk about, that actually fosters women's business growth. Not so that it is, when I think about lifestyle, I want a lifestyle that's above my lifestyle right now. I don't want to just barely make it, right? I want $1 billion business, and I want women to aspire to do that. There is only 314,000 enterprise level businesses owned by women in the US today. That is
for our folks, define enterprise level for us.
So over $1 million in revenue.
Really?
Yeah.
Really? That is smaller than I thought.
Tiny.
14,000.
Yep. Tiny. And so my mission is we should double, triple, quadruple that, because we make 83% of the purchasing decisions as women.
You say 83%, I have to say, I don't know. It seems higher to me. In my house, my husband and I would go back, honey, today it's 99%, you get 1%. No, he's actually a good shopper, but I will say in many households, it's probably a lot higher. But anyway,
Yeah. And so that's my, when I go back to think, this is why I believe that women doing business with women will change that.
Well, that's right. That's correct. There's an intentionality in our efforts. Thanks, Glory. Glory's reminding me that the venture capital it declined to 2.4%.
Yeah. I was,
Thank you so much. I mean, I really had this heady moment. Although I do think it is a heyday for entrepreneurship, and I think you're probably having an impact on that, Kate. But here's Brigitte. Bridget, I wonder, can a company in Ghana post on WMarketplace? Are you ready to go
yes.
international?
We are shipping right now only in the US. And so if we can work out a fulfillment solution, for sure.
Okay, because she's working with a brand of palm oil produced by women in rural Ghana, and they're getting economically empowered very quickly, which is.
I love that. So let me talk about the WMarketplace, because I think that frames a little bit. So 2020, I had a nonprofit organization that sponsored and hosted International Women's Day. And I am big in the numbers, which I think you're starting to get. I grew up in data, in tech, and so I had to know it. And so we grounded the event every year in the World Economic Report on the gender gap. And so I believe that part of our mission was to build awareness on what the gender gap really was, not anecdotal, but what it was. And so we looked at the pillars of healthcare, political involvement, education opportunity, and economics. And so we always talked about that, and we shared stories of amazing old women, and it was great and a celebration. 2020 happened. And, our event was March 5th. The lockdown orders came March 11th. It was just devastating. And so I did the only reasonable thing that women do, is I had a lot of leftover wine because we sold out tickets but didn't have a full house. So I drank a bunch of leftover wine, had a breakdown. I was like, wait a minute. I was like, everyone is online shopping. Women are really suffering economically. It is estimated that in the US, 257 years before we close the gender gap, the economic gender gap.
That's a real uplifter, isn't it?
Yes, I couldn't take it. And so I'm like, how do we support these women? How do we get money directly into their bank accounts? And I thought, okay, well, I'm a technologist, and I'm going to say we are going to have them online shop. We're going to build a platform by women, for women. Let's do it. And so we did. And so we launched for shoppers last September 2020. So we're just over a year old.
Well, let's show the site so everybody can see what it looks like while you're telling us about it. Go ahead, put it up.
And the whole mission is to empower women to have a sales channel online where they can shop their values, sell their merchandise and professional services. And so we are right there. We have 500 women-owned brands and gender balanced brands on the site, and about 3,000 products. And so I would say we are the only e-commerce platform where all the revenue stays with women-owned businesses. So you can go to Amazon, and you can go to Instagram, and you can go to Facebook Marketplace and all those, but this is the platform that all the revenue stays with women.
That, we speak to this, but you're giving us an active place to live it, to actually activate against it. And I think that's really, really valuable and important, right? And we're going to spend a little time. You're going to give us. I'd love a little bit more facts. How many businesses do you currently have? What is your goal in terms of the platform? And then tell us how we can participate. I think you're also going to give us. We're going to go through some holiday options today too, right?
Absolutely.
Before you do that, let me just say hello. Hey, Carla. Nice to see you on Facebook. Thanks for being with us. Chime right in with your questions or comments. If anybody is looking for a special kind of product or is interested in launching their business, please let Kate know, because this is as good a time as any. You're talking to the boss lady here.
I love it because people say, who do I talk to? And I'm like, well, we can make a decision.
Yeah,
Let's
and you're
do
like,
it.
whoa, wait.
Me. so, um, so 2020, we sort of sat down and said, who do we want to be? What's the parameters? And what we started to look at, I told a friend about this and she said, oh my gosh, I'm being laid off from my job. I'm in with you. So my co-founder is Susan Gates. And so we together sort of locked arms and went, okay, this is what we're going to do. And we have built this into 500 brands. So 500 women-owned companies. And to be honest, I think there's like 502 or 3 or something.
We're on it now. So it's probably 501, right?
There you go. Yeah. I mean, every day. And that's the most fun for me. That is so much fun. They offer about 3,000 products and professional services, which I think is a really important distinction because, women over index in professional services. And I mean, very specifically, coaching and consulting and bookkeeping and attorneys. And, those are the predominant professions are held by women in those areas. And so there was no place, when I needed a woman bookkeeper, I asked all my friends, oh my gosh, who do you use? And what do you, and it took hours to sort of send mail and figure out. And so I'm like, well, we just need a place for that. We need a place. Coaching, I need, either professional coaching, life coaching, financial coaching, something. And so I was like, we need those people on our site. And so we have accommodated higher services. Now, I will also say that right this minute is holiday time. So we're pretty set on the merchandise because we want these women to be successful in this holiday time. We are luckily not experiencing any supply chain issues right now. Knock, knock. I will say a little push for our women, but I am so excited about it. You can shop by community. You can, we have a huge Black owned population. We have 28% of our businesses. So we outstrip the US average there. We are 11% AAPI. We are 8% Latina. So we are, very intentionally looking at, there you go. That's great. So, this is really what we are trying to do in the world is reflect the demographics of American owned businesses, women owned businesses, and push them forward because when they're successful, we are successful. So, gosh, I have stop me and ask me questions because I could just go on forever.
No, I will. Of course I will. But I just want to say, I think there's a deal in the making here because I know you're always saying why not? But Bridget's coming back to us and says she wants this international. She wants it in Africa. By the way, you have a history of being in Africa.
I do. And I love Africa.
It belongs to the Association of Ghana Industries. And there's a women in business group and they have beautiful and wonderful products. And you can own right now this unbelievably special spot with women from Ghana.
Yes, I'm in. Bridget, let's talk. And yes, that dress is actually African inspired. That is the Ula company. And Erica, the CEO, is amazing. And her line of apparel was inspired by her grandmother. And she gets all of her fabric from Africa. So I would say to you, go look, it's fabulous. And we push her dresses forward right now because they're stunning. I have a few of them.
You do? Okay, well, I think, hold on. First of all, Erin, actually, I don't know if Erin's going to be moving, but Erin's on the West Coast. She says hello and she says, perfect timing for holiday shopping. Yes. And Cindy Persico is on as well. So it's interesting. You have made the case magnificently and beautifully. We can't hear it enough that as women, we do have the wherewithal to help other women be successful. Mm-hmm. We have the wherewithal to make ourselves successful. Absolutely. It is shopping time. This is something we have to do anyway. And it's all aligns, right? This is the perfect time. So I want to let everyone know that I am here with the amazing shot in the arm woman, Kate Eisler, who has taken the switchbacks all her life rather than the straight path, has created this amazing marketplace called TheWMarketplace, which currently has 500 women companies, women vendors on her site. And she's going to share now, right? You're going to share a couple of those with us now?
Absolutely. And I think you guys have links to some that I just picked out because I love them. And Ula's is on our front page now, but there are 3 that I picked up that, are sort of near and dear to me. So Mimi's pies, Mammy's pies. Those are hand pies. And I think
Sherry's going to share. I think Sherry's waiting to hear. All right, Sherry, you're going to put those up so we can see them.
yes.
Okay.
They were one of Oprah's favorite things last year. And they are a women-owned certified business. They came on our site about a month ago. We have, in my house, we have gone through 2 packs of them already because my husband is a pie fiend, loves them. And they're individual hand pies, so you can make them. They come frozen, put them in, ice cream on top, you're all good. All kinds of flavors.
Okay, so maybe all right. So here, Gloria put it. Okay, Mammy's Pies is one of them, and do they do a whole gift thing? Like, could you order them and send them to people and all that?
Absolutely, absolutely.
Let me ask you the question, Kate. We're getting your obviously very heralded recommendation. Is there a whole recommendation engine on the site in terms of quality? People know recommendations, things like that.
There is.
There we go.
There we go. They're beautiful.
Oh my goodness.
I know, right?
Oh my gosh. So 12 for $70.
Yeah.
Okay. Be the first to write a review. I guess Kate's going to say, I eat these as often as I can.
I know. I might get my husband to write reviews, I have to say. And they come, there's like 3 different kinds of them. They come, if you click, Sherry, if you click on Mammy's Pies right up at the top, like no, but it's okay. Don't worry about it. But they come pumpkin. There is all kinds of her pies you can see. Well, let's see.
Oh,
okay,
there you go.
There you go. You can see all of her flavors. And so that's the other thing, I want to say to everyone, you can shop the products, but you can also learn about who you're buying from on the marketplace. You can look and scroll down these pages. Each of our vendors have these pages that we give them that, sort of give an overview of their products, and they have an opportunity to give an overview of their business, who they are, about the seller, and a video, introduction, which again, on the services side or on the product side, you want to know who they are. And so it's a little website in its own.
This is amazing. Okay, who's our next one? All right, anybody interested in pies? If you're not making your own, by the way, which is also a really nice thing, Mammy's Pies, excellent recommendation. And you can send a dozen to a family, right? And that could be your gift.
100%. You know what? We sent it. We have I will tell you, this is probably, my team will probably have a heart attack when I tell you this, but we have we have a day that we've named after the first woman who bought something on the marketplace last year that none of us knew. It was like, oh my gosh. Okay, so I won't say her name, but we have that day. And that day is actually the 12th. And so we sent all of our team members, in celebration of XX Day, name here, day, we sent them all a 12-pack of pies, just because it's so fun. So I would say
that is so good. I totally get it. We just did a fundraiser, which we want to thank everybody for contributing, celebrating our 10th anniversary. It was called 10-10-10X.
Yes.
And, we would get donations. I'm like, okay, who knows this person? And they're like, you don't know that person. And we're like, okay, that's great. We love the people we know. Of course, we want to know everybody, don't we, Kate? We're just those kind of people.
That's right.
We can't know everybody until we can identify the people we don't know and then know them.
That's exactly right.
Right.
But we thought it would be, she might think we were stalking her now. So, okay. So the next thing I have on here is cultural kinesis, which is, one of the things we talk about with our young people and women right this minute, and how, we're redefining. We could use a little help sometimes. And we have coaches on the site. And so she has a coaching package of 3 sessions that, if you have women in your life, or this would be a great present for them. If they're thinking of, what do I do? Did I just finish college? Did I, am I not happy in my job? Did I just leave my job? So this is an opportunity for them to, have a little bit of a different, not a merchandise sort of, so eco-friendly present, but really looking into themselves. And so these are a package of coaching sessions that we thought was just wonderful and would be a great gift.
Oh, without a doubt.
Yep. Absolutely. Okay. And then the next one is Masami hair care. Now, Masami is the best hair care. It is like luxury. You put this shampoo in and you're like, oh my gosh, this is fabulous. And so this is their little travel kit. It's their sample kit of all the things they have on the site. And the woman who owns Masami is Lynn Power, is like a powerhouse, amazing woman that is.
Go ahead, Sherry, scroll down a little bit. Let's see. I just want to see how she shares her story. Here she is.
Yeah, there she is. She's awesome. And so she is very entrepreneurial. She has a community around her that has brought other entrepreneurs to our site. And I just, she lives the women doing business and supporting with women every single day. And I love her products. I mean, both Susan and I buy her products all the time, and I buy them for gifts. I have a daughter-in-law with tons of hair who I said, here, she loves them. So, really fun. Just if you're going to travel or want something new, I would say Masami is fabulous.
Japanese ocean, whatever.
Absolutely. And her partner is from Japan. And so they have formulated this mixture that they use. And so it's healthy, it's green, it's fabulous. And so she's great.
Hey, Joy Kurtz, well, glad you're with us today. Okay. We're doing, this is like Oprah's list, but much better because it's Kate's list.
Kate's list. It's crazy.
Actually, you know what? We this is not a bad idea, Kate. I love this idea.
It is
Kate's list.
Okay, so the last one I want to show you is one of the other features of our site is that we believe that we are intentional about women's resources and supporting nonprofits. And so with that, we have a place on our site that hosts all kinds of nonprofits. It's called Resources. And, women, I am a firm believer, can buy a coaching session, a scarf, a shampoo, pies, and donate or get information about a nonprofit all in one go. And so, that is part of it. We have a few nonprofits that actually we are their sales channel. And so one of those is Crafting Hope International. And so if you look at, and I have a bunch of friends who have all purchased from Crafting Hope. So Crafting Hope creates jobs. They educate children with these proceeds, and they make the most amazing totes. So if you scroll down here, you're going to see some of these bags that are incredible. And all the proceeds go back into her business. So if you look at these, aren't they great?
Yes.
So, one of the things that, again, I think is really important is that, we are supporting women. And Bridget, to your questions on Ghana, this is where we can work something out. I am quite positive to put those women up, and we'll figure out how to give them a marketplace, because we have,
how fantastic would that be? It reminds me, we at Generation W, we have a program every year, and we'll bring it back, called Launch Her. And so we select, and you know what, we should go through the companies we've worked with, and figure out how to feature them and put them, I don't know, I think there's an idea here. But when you mentioned bags, there's this wonderful woman, her name is Brianna Kilcullen, and her company's called Enact. And actually Enact, and they're using hemp, right? She wants to preserve the environment. But it's short for an act of kindness. And she's introduced me to other women and their businesses, and it's just a wonderful, really mini ecosphere that I just love being at. So I just wanted to mention Enact, and I think she should absolutely be part of this. So as soon as I get off, I'm going to be calling her.
I love that. So, and the other thing, about the marketplace, besides of the commercial aspects of it, because I truly believe, I can't sit around every day and enrich Jeff Bezos. I just can't do it. And so I'm like,
you think he has enough money?
I think he has enough money, and I don't think he has a conscience. And so,
okay, then.
So I said it, but I think that's a transacting site, and we are a shopping, and we are a place where you can actually shop your values. And so that is something I love. So the other thing I would say about this is, as we talk about supporting women are at all stages of business, right? They're starting out, they're pivoting to online now, or they're scaling. to different sales channels. And so we actually have a program for that as well, because one of the things that we learned straight off the bat, as we started, we had people sort of coming to us saying, well, I have a brick and mortar store or I have a home business, but I don't know how to market it online. And I don't know what I should think about in shipping and taxes. And what does this all mean? And so we have worked with the Small Business Administration and the women-owned business centers around the country to develop a curriculum. So it's a 4-week, once a week workshop program that we have implemented to bring women on board the marketplace. And it's not an obscure learn this, it's a let's put your shop together. And the best thing about it is my team doesn't deliver the content. Women already on the marketplace that are experts in those areas deliver the content.
Right.
So we hire women doing business with women. So the consultants that create your assets for your online store and write your copy, yep, those are women from the marketplace.
Oh,
So
that's awesome.
Yeah, I mean, and we get, other more seasoned entrepreneurs to talk about what is their shipping solutions and how do they figure that out and who are the people they're doing that with, and deliver that so that by the time women start their shop, immediately on the TheWMarketplace, they have access to a national audience. They have the benefit of the investment in marketing and traffic driving we're making, and the support of a community.
Right.
So, oh, you know what? I just saw the Jesse's Nutty Cups come up. One of my faves.
Okay.
I have to admit, they just came out. They are absolutely.
Bridget's giving you her email address, but Cindy had a great question from Facebook. She wants to know, this is a great question. Can we buy gift cards for the TheWMarketplace itself where we can choose what we want to purchase? So
yes, you can. You absolutely can.
How would we do that, Kate?
Just in the, they're in some of the gift guides and in the bottom, but if you go to the search button on my site and go gift cards, they will pop up and you can purchase them. And I believe it's $25, $50, and $100. And again, the beauty of all this is if you need a different amount, you just need to let me know because I know who can make that happen.
See, we know who can make it happen. It's happening right here with Kate and her team, with all of these 500 vendors. It's happening with all of us and the entire community that we will get this message out. Cindy, great question. Thank you so much for that. Okay, listen, I have a feeling that we're going to celebrate the Ghana Day. Today's going to be the Ghana Day. We had who could have predicted? I had no idea Bridget was going to show up. I'm always happy when she shows up. And here she is. So there we go. We're all going to be able to get African goods and services at some point directly from the TheWMarketplace.
I love it.
Let's see. Do we have any other questions? Oh, Gloria, if you would, and Katie, if you would, make sure that we put up the TheWMarketplace website so everyone knows how to get it. And Sherry, put up the 3 pieces of advice that Kate wants to offer all of our women in terms of their own personal pursuit of making a difference, whether it's becoming an entrepreneur or reshaping their world. Because before we leave, I want to make sure that we do have that up.
Yeah,
okay.
Absolutely.
Empowering female entrepreneurship. First of all, we got shop your values. I love that. We'll say that 5 more times before we leave you, because you know what? It is a very impactful way to make a difference.
Yep. So the next one is don't self-select out. I talk to women all the time that believe that they don't have the right education, they don't have the right network, they don't have the financial backing, or most importantly, kind of people depend on them. I have a family, my husband, my children. I would say to them, you show up as your whole self if you're happy. And if you are pushing that out and saying, I can't do this because of all of these things, you're not going to be the best you. And so I would encourage you to not self-select out. I am a person who had none of those things. And, as I started off saying, rightly should not have had the career that I had, because I did have, all of those challenges. But I am a believer that we all have friends. You now have a community of us that will support you. There is a way to do it. maybe not tomorrow, but there is a way to start and select in for yourself, because you will show up better to all those people that depend on you when you do that.
Totally agree. Totally agree. And so,
Mhm.
and that ties into our women doing business. Well, listen, we can't leave you because we're about to run out of time without showing one of your latest. We are so in love with the W Marketplace. And it's funny, at first I'm thinking, can we be a part of this? And Kate said, we can be a part of this. I'm like, oh my goodness, we need to be a part of this.
Yep.
So Sherry, if you can show, we recently posted
Yes.
Wowsdom, the Girl's Guide to the Positive and the Possible. We're now running a holiday special. And so, if anybody wants to purchase this today, we will actually name today after you as our ongoing holiday. How's that?
I
Right?
love it.
And we like to say this book is for women, young women, but also all women who are young at heart. That's really that's how we approach that.
Absolutely. And we have a good book session. Great book session, and they're all women authors. I released a book during COVID as well, and you can read about what I've talked about. My story is on the
Yes, tell us the name of your book.
Breaking Borders.
Breaking Borders, which is filled with the enthusiasm, energy, and incredible story and path that Kate has taken.
It is. I just encourage everyone, because when I read stories of successful women, they are always women who have been in the right place at the right time, have amazing educations, and that is great for them. But the majority of us, I think, live real lives, and we go backwards and forwards and sideways, and we make decisions that aren't great sometimes. And I have been really honest in my book about that. In fact, at one point, my husband, my chief editor initially, came to me and said, "Are we putting this in the book?" I said, we're going to tell. And so I'm really honest about mistakes and bad choices and good things. And I just think, again, when women start to talk to each other and share, we relate. We've all had that feeling. We've all had that experience, and we're not so alone with it. And so that builds your community to get together and help you succeed. And so I am all about that. And I am so excited to have this audience and Ghana on the list. I'm really excited about this, because that's the mission. I am determined to grow big women's businesses. I'm going to be the 314th or 15,000 business and bring about 500 more with me.
Yeah, and that is fantastic. And I have no doubt that you will be able to do that, because you will not be traveling alone. We are traveling with you for sure. Kate, your wisdom for today, I always take notes. Everyone knows. I said again, shop your values. It makes us just pause and think. We can all go to the W Marketplace. This is the time. Hanukkah's coming up first, then Christmas, Thanksgiving, birthdays, whatever it is. And then also the idea about women supporting women will change the world. At Generation W, of course, we embrace that, believe that, we live into it. And this is a really tangible, viable way. And I don't know why I keep thinking of Debbie Banks here. She's one of our great community members, our board members, a phenomenal friend who's always smart about these things. And I don't know, I find that I'm thinking about her. Just want to let you know that in terms of holiday specials, Eventbrite is up. Generation W. You will love this, Kate. Our theme is connection. And if the W Marketplace is about anything, it is about the power of connection.
Yep.
April 1st, mark your calendars. As you all know, prior to the new year, our pricing for our tickets, which will go up a bit this year. As we all know, the prices for everything has been impacted. But with your support, we will have a tremendous event. By the way, vaccines will be required of attendees. Most of our companies are in that world. So we expect that we won't have any issues. But I will tell you, I don't think there's a superpower more impactful, and we'll be celebrating that impact at the Lazora Theater at UNF in full embrace. Wow, 2 years it's been in person on April 1st. So please do mark your calendars. And of course, you just saw our book for the holiday, for the girl in your life. And for also the young girl at heart in all of our lives. In the holiday spirit, we'll be also, let me just say this, rallying behind, and I'm going to be talking about this everywhere I can, Neelafar Rahmani. I'm not sure if you've seen her, Kate, but she's our friend, the first and only woman pilot in the Afghani Air Force. And I don't know if you saw the news lately. Actually, America went in and had to save some of the American trained Afghani pilots.
Yeah.
She's been reunited with her parents who were in danger at the hands of the Taliban. And they came here with just shoes on their feet and the clothes on their back. And so she now we've helped her with a GoFundMe page. And if anybody, listen, $5 or $10 on GoFundMe, it is the amount of volume. And so to be able to help her, $5 and $10 consistently will get her some more promotion. And I'm in touch with her regularly. And we really do want to help her family begin a new life in America, welcomed with just some of the fundamental privileges that we have, like with some new clothes and maybe some furniture, and we'll get there little by little. And lastly, we will be back. And the time we come back, our turkey will be consumed, and it'll be the first day of Hanukkah with yet another group of wonderful women who will talk to us about, how do we stay healthy? What's a good diet? What are some recipes and things that will take us through the holidays and the new year, feeling good about our bodies, feeling sustained, nourished in the best possible way. I know these two women, Heather Borders and Dawn Hutchins, will provide a lot of great insight. It'll be like a fun time. Kate, if you want to come back, you're welcome to join us. I think everybody we have on the show could be part of our collective W Marketplace and Generation W community. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Thank you to all of our friends on Facebook. Cindy, thank you for that really sweet comment. Really appreciate that you found this valuable. And of course, all of our guests on Zoom. We'll see you again December 1st. Thanks, everyone.
Thank you.
Have a great rest of the week.